can't even see what's on the shirt. Just it's already recording. Oh yeah, that's fine. You can see yourself?
Yeah. What's up, y'all? This Britt and Britt back with a baby on baby.
So, what's up, guys? I know it's been forever. No need to tell me. I already know. But YouTube was my original platform for social media. So I wanted to ensure that you guys got this journey firsthand. So we're going to be doing IVF. And um, we basically just had our first actual IVF appointment earlier this week. Initially, we were going to do IUI, but once they told us the statistics and just the probability and with my age and other like things, we chose IVF. We decided on IVF. The doctor suggested trying IUI a couple times, but we were just like, give us what's the most potent, give us what's the most likely to go ahead and get the job done. But I did not know it was such a process. It is a process. I never knew that the process was processing the way that the processing is processing. Okay, it's a big deal. But when I was doing research, I guess because it's such an emotional journey, people don't really share like everything when it comes to IVF or when it comes to fertility journeys, trying to conceive journeys. So, one thing I've always been able to pride myself on is being super open about the things that I go through and the things that I come across in any journey in my life that I go through or go on or whatever. So I'm just gonna give you guys a quick fill in, and then today is day one of my medication. Um, I will probably upload a short on here of me actually doing the injections. Or maybe I can record from here also and then record on my phone so I can post it to all of my social medias. I was thinking about going live, but I don't know if my anxiety can handle the live. So I'm probably gonna record and then be able to edit it a little bit and then post it. So far, I've had so I'll just give you guys a quick story. I initially went to my first doctor's appointment for this process in May. Initially, I was gonna do IUI. Never knew that like once you're over basically 28, they almost like consider you high risk. And I'm 35, so my doctor wasn't really liking my age. They don't really like my weight. I actually had to get approved by the anesthesiologist to even be able to do IVF. They wanted me to lose some weight. And I'm like, if you guys had told me that in the beginning, that would have been okay. But they told me last month that they wanted me to lose 30 pounds by this month. And I'm like, you guys waited too late. You should have told me that. I lost like 16, which is a lot for a month, but 30 in 1 month is like almost impossible unless you're doing some type of crash dieting, which is like backwards. Exactly. So, my very first appointment, they did blood work. They did a ultrasound. Looked at my I guess my uterus, cervix, my cervix. I think my fallopian. I don't know what they looked at, y'all. They looked at something on the ultrasound. My first. No, because I had to do the HSG for the tube. I don't know what they looked at. Whatever they looked at is something. They looked at my stomach area on the inside parts during the ultrasound. And they did blood work. When the blood work came back, it turned out that I did not have MMR antibodies. And that's the measles, mumps, and rubella or something like that. So I had to get that vaccine. And so, like, a lot of people are like, well, why didn't you try at home first? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And things like this is why, and because we have the insurance, this is why I wanted to go the route that we're going. So, if you contract any of those um, diseases, illnesses, whatever, while you're pregnant, um, it can cause stillbirth. It can cause blindness. It can cause deafness. It can cause mental retardation in your child, and it could have been avoided if you took the vaccine. But I would have never known that I needed to take the vaccine had I not gotten the blood work done at the doctor's office in the first place. So that was like the first one. I never even knew that. I guess I never had chickenpox, and I guess I didn't even know that I never took that vaccine. Like I lived never had chickenpox. I lived on campus at a college and everything else. So I they make you do like all type of different vaccines to even live on campus. So I would have never thought that I was missing one, but I was missing one. So I did that, and then you have to wait 30 days after that before you do any type of treatment. So that took us from May until June. June came along. We started actually like the treatment. We got on Clomid. We were basically at the point because we were doing IUI at this point, and they scheduled a HSG. Now HSG is for them to basically push ink into your ovaries, and I'm sorry, push ink to get to your ovaries to show your ovaries on the screen, whatever. Um, and it's to check, I guess, to see if your tubes are open. So one of my tubes was like completely blocked. On the screen, the shit had me devastated. I was crying. And then the doctor was like, she sucked so bad. The way she delivered the message was like traumatizing. She's like, did you have ectopic pregnancy? Like, this entire side is gone. And I'm like, girl, what? So, and this was a separate doctor because my original clinic, the way that they did the HSG, my insurance wouldn't have covered it. So I referred myself out to go get the HSG done at a clinic that did it in office so that insurance would cover it. Yeah. You bored? No. So that the insurance
running around buying you gifts all day
would cover it. And so I initially liked this other doctor's office, this other clinic, and I had scheduled a follow up or appointment there because I wanted to get multiple opinions. So the doctor was so disgusting that I wanted to cancel the follow up appointment. So once she finished, I cried for like 2-3 days. But when I went back to my original doctor, he said, well, more than likely, the abdominal surgery you had, which was weight loss surgery and my gallbladder being removed, blocked it too. And he's basically like, if she would have looked at your record, she would have saw that. And so he's like, you can still do IUI with just one tube, but of course, like I said, with the probability for me, it just didn't make any sense.
Chances slim.
The chances, I wouldn't say slim, but it was like IUI, which is just taking the sperm and putting it in you.
They don't go as deep, so it is slim.
The probability is like between 6 to 10%, but it's only like $4,000, opposed to IVF, which is about 50 to 60%, but it's $40,000. So that's why my original doctor was, well, try this a couple times. If that doesn't work, then you can do IVF. But to me, why waste the $8,000 or maybe $12,000 on the IUI when we could just go ahead and throw it all at the IVF? So that was the first incident with this clinic. But when I called to cancel, they said I couldn't get my deposit back. So I had to pay $150 deposit. Now this is for the second clinic in order to have my initial consultation, and then that $150 is put towards whatever treatment you get or whatever co-pays you have or whatever. So when I called to cancel it, they wouldn't give me my money back. So I was like, well, I don't want to see that doctor then. If I can't have my money back, I'm gonna go to the orientation. I mean, to the consultation because I paid $150. Yeah. But I don't want to see that doctor because she sucks. So they gave me another doctor, and this is a black woman. She's actually black and Bahamian. She's black but Bahamian. And she's from Miami. I'm from Miami, and I'm Bahamian and Jamaican. So I was like, okay, this is cool. She's actually an excellent doctor. Like, she's literally fire. She was an OBGYN for years and years and years before she became a fertility specialist. So she went from delivering babies to helping make babies. And so this is just ultimately her passion. So the way she initially approached everything was completely different from the original clinic. And I do understand that everybody has different ways of running their facility. But one of the first things she asked me was about genetic testing. And now, mind you, I was already on Clomid, so I was already in treatment at the first clinic. And we were basically, this appointment was basically the same week we were supposed to do the insemination. Mind you, I didn't even have any sperm because I couldn't decide on a sperm donor. But
her first thing was like, "You don't have sperm?
How you don't have sperm?" And I was like, "I haven't picked a donor yet." And like when she did my ultrasound, she's like, "You have this big egg that's ready to be inseminated, and you don't even have sperm. Like, how do they have you in treatment without sperm?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So she was like, "Okay, so I'm not comfortable with you skipping genetic testing." And I was like, and see, that was my question because I asked the clinic. I said, "Listen, some of these donors have different genetic conditions, and I have not had I have not had genetic testing done. So how do I know that I don't have the conditions that they have? Like, how do I choose?" And the nurse from the first clinic literally told me it's just like if you were to go and have sex with somebody. I'm like, "Yeah, but that's not what I'm doing." Like, why do I have to exactly? Why do I have to take this risk when I'm literally paying for this process to avoid some of these risks? So that was kind of like a red flag. I hated that answer, and they sucked as far as communication as well. Like, I guess this is just a fertility thing. The level of gatekeeping is ridiculous. Like, I have constantly have issues with my freaking foot. I can email my podiatrist. I have an orthodontist. I can call my orthodontist. They have these fertility doctors on the lock and key. You cannot get to them. It's so much gatekeeping. Like, you have to call and leave a message, and then they'll call you back. But the first clinic, you have to write them on the like the online messaging portal and wait for them to respond, and that sucks. Like when you have questions that you need answers, like that literally sucks. Like that, it like the shit pissed me off so bad. I don't even know if I can cuss on YouTube,
thousands
but
and thousands of dollars.
Exactly, and that's my thing. Literally paying thousands of dollars, and I can't even get a question answered. So she was like, "All right, let's do the genetic testing. Let's start there, and then I don't like what you're doing. You're in the middle of treatment, so you need to contact that facility and tell them, hey, I no longer wish to continue treatment or continue that treatment and come back to me for the second cycle. But whatever you're doing, we have to figure out what you're doing." So I did the genetic testing, and they test you for like 190 different things. And I came back as a carrier for something called alpha thesamine or something like that. And it's basically a type of sickle cell trait. So it's not sickle cell, but it's similar to sickle cell, and I don't have it, but I'm a carrier for it. So when now that I was armed with that information, I felt safer choosing a sperm donor. So that's the main reason why it took me so long to choose a sperm donor in the first place, is because I didn't know what I had. I could see what they have, but I don't want to have the same thing. And again, something that could have been avoided was not avoided. And this is again, if I'd have just had sex with somebody or got sperm and shot it up me, this is the second thing that my child could have potentially came across that I could have avoided if I just would have went the regular route.
Yeah, because had she not, normally people that are carriers for sickle cell, if you a carrier and the other party is a carrier, 9 times out of 10, your child will be born with the sickle cell trait.
Not even the sickle cell trait, but the sickle cell disease.
Yeah, but see, the fact that you don't actually have it, and that party it'll be the trait.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
But yeah, but if you had it,
right,
and then potentially they had it, then it's full blown sickle cell, which we don't even want to go there. That's a whole another topic.
So that was the beginning of that with that doctor. And then she was ready to start treatment. Then and there, we got approval from the insurance, but I was actually going out of town for my birthday. So she was like, when you're on these fertility drugs, you can't be doing too much. You can't drink, like you can't do any of that. So it's best you just wait. So I I waited until we came back from Colombia, but then their finance team pissed me off. So, okay,
A woman is hard to understand.
I
She
worked.
requires a lot.
No, when I'm paying my money and I'm getting a service, I expect a certain level of service. Like I've done customer service my whole life. I work for Medicaid, I work for Medicare, I work for Aetna, I work for United Healthcare. So I understand how this process works. I understand the financial part of it. I understand how the claims are processed. I understand all of it. So my my financial lady just sucked, right? So I have a actual managed care for fertility. So we have Blue Cross Blue Shield, and they actually have a separate um, um, party managing just the fertility benefit, and they're literally on it. Like if you submit a claim today, tomorrow that claim is approved or denied, and they've been on it. And I already knew this because I've been working with them with the claims from the other clinic. So
From
after
May.
from May, right? So in August, the doctor wrote up the order right there. She's like, "I'm writing up your order." This was August. This was like mid-August, like the 14th. So my birthday, September the 3rd. We went through, came back. The insurance had already gave the approval for a service to be rendered. Um, wait, no, let me back up. So she never submitted the claim initially. So I contacted her via email, like, hey, this claim has not been submitted. So she's like, no, we did submit the claim. I'm like, no, you did not submit the claim because I can see the claims. The claim was never submitted. So she's like, all right, I'm going to submit the claim now. So it took her 3 more days, and then she submitted the claim. They responded the next day with the approval. In order for me to make my next appointment or move forward or do anything else, she has to put this approval in the system so that the nurses know that they can move forward and the doctor knows they can move forward with treatment. Well, the approval came back. No, I'm skipping ahead. They denied it. They denied it because they said that the NPI number did not match the address. That's what happened. So they denied it because the NPI number did not match the address. And so NPI is basically like the provider's, might as well call it like their social security number. That's what they use to get paid. That's what they use to get.
It's like a EIN number.
Basically, but for doctors, pretty much.
Right.
So, what this woman did was she put the address to the lab instead of the doctor's office that I was having treatment at, and my insurance denied the claim. So I emailed her and I said, hey, the claim was denied because the NPI number does not match the address. Now you would think, well, Brittany, why would you do this? I would do that because she sucks. So I was just trying to help her with the process because when my insurance company sends them a letter, they send me the letter. So I have the letter. I see the letter. I see the same letter that you got. And she's like, oh, they denied it because they want your health background information. I said, no, they didn't. They denied it for the NPI
information. Already had it.
And so she's like, no, they deny for that all the time. It's because they're looking for this specific information. I'm like, no. I actually screenshot the letter and highlighted it and circled it and said, this is why it was denied. And so she pushed back and resubmitted with the health information. So the shit was denied again because, again, you have the wrong address. She has the address to the lab, which is in Webster, but that's not the doctor's office. So the lab is not technically in network, which, I mean, that's a bunch of insurance jargon. But at the end of the day, this is your department. So you should already know that if I'm going to the office that's in Houston, you should not be putting the address that's in Webster. It does not work like that. You know they're going to deny it. I know they're going to deny it. They know they're going to deny it. So I went back and forth with her for like 2 weeks on this. And then she finally submitted it, but I had to literally call Blue Cross Blue Shield and make a big ass deal. Like I had to turn up because I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Basically, we're coming up on the end of the year. I've already met my deductible for 2022. Like, I shouldn't have to redo this process because y'all not on y'all shit. And not the insurance company, it's actually the provider. So the lady I got on the phone actually reached out. She called every single number for that office, and she said, I've never in my 18 years been unable to reach someone at a doctor's office like this. She's like, this is insane. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually reach out to their head clinician and I'm gonna go ahead and let them know we are waiting on this specific information. So once she did that, the claim finally got approved. It got approved, and the lady never told me it was approved. So I knew it was approved because I got the letter, but she never said nothing back to me. So I reached out to her again via email, like, excuse me, the claim was approved. I'm waiting now for you to update my portal so I can schedule my appointment because you can't go forward until the treatment has been approved.
Right.
The lady ain't emailed me back. So my next message to her and my next call was, okay, well, y'all go ahead and cancel this claim, and I'm gonna just go ahead and go somewhere else because I'm not gonna keep playing with y'all. So after I reached
They made my baby cry.
After I reached out and told her that, like 2 days later, I guess once she noticed the claim was closed, the doctor called me herself. And she's like, hey, Brittany, I noticed that, you reached out and told them to cancel everything. Like, what's going on? I told her, like, your financial person sucks. I love you as a doctor. I think you're absolutely amazing, but like she literally sucks. And I show her all the emails, like, this is what I've been dealing with. She's like, well, why didn't you reach out to me? And I'm like, I don't have a way to contact you because you're fucking guard dogs. Like, I would have been reached out to her. So she's like, no, this is unacceptable. I'm gonna reach out to her manager. I'm gonna get your case handled by the manager of the department. Like, we're not gonna do this again. If you want to switch clinics because you don't like my service, that's one thing. But the financial department shouldn't be the reason why you're switching. So we got that situated. We decided to move forward with treatment. I had to go back and cancel the other claim at the other office because, baby, I hadn't already started the switching process because I'm not going to play with y'all. So, after all of that was done, we had to make our payment and purchase our sperm. And so, once we did that, we scheduled our appointment and they scheduled us like 2 weeks out. They put me on birth control for 2 weeks. And so on my last day of birth control was when our follow up appointment was, and that was this Tuesday.
Yes.
So during that process, they had already put my prescriptions in. So these are my prescriptions. I'm going to show you guys them. And they're all injections. Like with the IUI, you take oral. This is all injections. So yeah, I wasn't feeling the whole injection process, but I don't really have a choice. So I have my calendar here, and then also, like, I really can't do much of nothing while I'm on these fertility drugs. So obviously, no alcohol. Can't be around smoke or smokers. I don't smoke anyways, but smokers. I can't have any more than 300 milligrams of caffeine for the day. I basically can't exercise. Like, it literally says no twisting, no bending, no jumping, no kickboxing, no aerobics, and nothing that raises your heart rate above 140.
No sauna.
Beats per minute. Yeah, she told me no sauna too. I actually am in the sauna all the time. So damn it to me is like don't even go to the gym. So what I said I was gonna like start trying to walk. But I did make a lot of changes to my diet. I started back juicing, so I'm gonna be doing like a green juice a day. I do have some herbal teas. Um, I don't know. I asked actually the person who made the teas. I asked in her group to make sure that we're not gonna have no conflict with this medication. And I'm just gonna be walking and like trying to consume more raw fruits and vegetables and juices. So I'm just trying to make my body as healthy as possible because it's a lot that we're gonna be putting my body through within the next few weeks. So
yeah, because I think it's like what we see. Once you start these shots, we see the doctor like every
2 days.
2 days.
Every 2 days once we start the shot. So I have Goldenol F, Micro HCG, Citratide, and then I have a trigger shot, which is HCG and Lupron. So I have for the first 4 days, I'm only doing the micro HCG and the Gonal. On the fifth day, I add in Cetratide, and then
do that for 4 days.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And then on the 6th day,
you do the trigger shot.
The trigger shot.
On the 7th day, we're hoping to retrieve eggs.
The 8th day, technically, is to receive the eggs. So on the on the day after the trigger shot, they want you to stop eating and drinking after midnight, and then the next morning is when they want to do the first retrieval. On this calendar, it says January the 4th, but that can change depending on how everything goes. Medication. So the way IVF works is they basically stimulate my ovaries to produce more than one egg, because normally during your cycle you produce one egg per cycle. I'm taking this medication to make multiple eggs grow. They're gonna put me under anesthesia, go in, retrieve the eggs that are there, and then they take our donor sperm and not inseminate, fertilize the eggs, and leave them in a petri dish to kind of like incubate. So after 3 or 4 days, they'll let us know, hey, these eggs made it to the blastocyst stage, which means they're matured enough to go inside. So at that point, we haven't decided 100% if we're gonna do pre-genetic testing. If we do pre-genetic testing, that takes 7 to 10 days. So your eggs are frozen and they send them off for 7 to 10 days, and they'll let you know, hey, these eggs have these genetic issues. And so what this is for is to potentially avoid transferring an egg that has like something wrong genetically with it. And you can also choose or see the sex of the baby, potential baby at this point.
I want to do it.
and so at that point, once everything looks good, they put me back under anesthesia, and then put the mature cytoblast, I think, blastocyte back inside, and then at that point, it just has to implant. And as long as it implant, then we got action and we have a baby growing. So right. I know that this process could be a lot. So for me, I'm not gonna consider the baby a child until we're at that process. So even though I know we're transferring potential eggs, I'm not gonna get too excited because I know that the possibility of it not implanting is possible. So I'm just trying to be as open and honest and positive about the journey as possible. So I don't want to like put myself through like depression or anything like that. So once the baby, like for me, once we got a heartbeat, maybe I can start breathing a little bit. But I know mostly, they say not safe till you in the second trimester. So I know that's a long way, but I'm not gonna look at the egg being transferred as a child because I see people do that and they're devastated. So I'm gonna try not to do that. So basically that is it for this. So I'm gonna show you guys my different medications. This is one I have to start taking tonight. This is Glonal, Gonal, whatever. And this is a pen. I open it upside down. Child. No, these are needles. So, give me that phone. I'm gonna actually record here so I can give you guys a closer up. I'll add it in. So this is the Glonal, and the medication is inside. Like angle here. You gotta cut it back here. So the medication is in this pen, and basically you take the top off here. Come over here. You take the top off, and this is the medication here. I have to do 450, so I'm gonna have to twist this knob to get to the dose, and then you screw on the needle and you basically inject it into your stomach. So this is one that I have to take. That's Glonal. You can pause it. And also this is HCG, but it's HCG in the lower dose. So I have to take two of these. So, um, what is this? That's your. You got your finger blocking the thing.
I was wondering, like, what is that?
You gonna stop the video? Okay. Move that finger. It's blocking the camera. Okay. So this is the HCG low dose, and I have to take two of these. So one of the 450 of the Glodon, 20 milliliters of the HCG. So I'm gonna have to take two of these, and then I'm gonna show you guys the needle. It's actually
a cute little kid from one of your followers.
Right, yeah. One of my followers, Jennifer, sent me this little toolbox to keep up with all of my medicines and syringes and like all of this stuff. Like, she's literally the best. She also bought me a fridge.
Shout out to Jennifer.
Shout out to Jennifer. She bought me a fridge and she bought me an avocado warmer to put where I have to stab myself at. So this is the HCG. I just want to show you guys the needle. It's a pretty.
Watch it now.
It's a pretty small needle. Hopefully y'all can see that. So
maybe I'll get the butterfly.
And then once I complete that, then on day 5, like I said, is when I add in the Centratol, Cetatide. Try listen. And so I haven't even watched
the trigger shot.
No, this is not the trigger shot. I haven't even watched the video on this yet, because I have a couple more days. But it's the syringe in here. This is an injection. This is an injection. This is another syringe.
Oh,
this is
that's the one that goes in your butt.
I think this is the one that goes in your butt, unfortunately. And then, so these don't need to be, no, this does. So some of this has to be refrigerated and some of it doesn't. Now, this is what we're using for the trigger shot. This is Novarel and Leuprolide. I think this is $19,000. This one medication right here is $19,000.
I thought it was 27.
No, all of them together is $22,000, but this one by itself is $19,000. But I take these together, and that's my trigger. So
I better get me a baby.
So once you get to the point where you trigger, it basically, forces ovulation. So they wait until they basically put all, like, make you can stop it. They basically have you take the medication. They watch you every 2 days to make sure you're not being overly stimulated, to make sure that everything looks good inside with the baby and with the eggs. Sorry. Everything looks good inside with the eggs. And then when you get to that point, they go ahead and make you take the medication and they trigger you. So you have the trigger shot, makes you ovulate, and then 2 days later, they're going to put you under to take the eggs. So that's where we at. Like I said, I'm going to record me giving this up, getting this shot, so I can add it to the video. And, like, this is like vlog day 1. Well, I guess technically, yeah, like vlog day 1. I don't know if my doctor really likes video cameras. She won't even let Brittaney come in the room. Our first clinic would let Brittaney come in the room to be there doing their ultrasound and everything, but she's like, "Oh, I didn't even tell y'all what they did when they bust me open."
No, say that for a later date.
No, I have to tell it all in this video because it's all beforehand. So on the appointment, I had 2 procedures done. The first procedure that was done was, I don't know the name of it. But what they were doing was, she said it's kind of like, I don't know the name. I'll add the name if I remember it. But it's basically like a GPS to my body, is what the doctor said. So she was measuring how far up she has to go to get to where she's trying to get to, how deep, how long of a catheter she needs, blah, blah, blah. This one I had to be on a full bladder. So I drank a bottle of water before I went in there. My bladder was not full enough for them. So they made me sit there and drink more water. And so you have to basically pee. And then they take that same little thing they open you up with when you're going to go get a pap smear. The little click. They opened me up. She got a probe about this long and about this fat and stuck it up there. And then they took a catheter and stuck the catheter inside with the probe and the click thing. And she was taking pictures.
Y'all, the doctors actually told me after the procedure was done that Brittaney's been a little dramatic.
No, I was not being dramatic, actually. I was not being dramatic at all. So that was the first one. And then after that, they let me pee. When I came back, I'm thinking, okay, good, we done. We're not done. So they bust me back open again, laid me back down, bust open, probe, even longer catheter this time. Because the first time they went to my cervix, this time they went to my uterus. So she pushing. I'm like, sis, that hurt. You're scraping me up my inside. I want you to get up out of there. She pushing. I'm like, ma'am, I'm not used to all of this opening up, busting open.
What she told you?
She's like, Brittany, it doesn't matter your sexual orientation. This is uncomfortable for all women. I'm like, I'm a lesbian in case you didn't know why you ended up busting me down. And so after they get all the way to my uterus, and I'm thinking, okay, it can't get no worse than this. I'm talking about it got worse. I'm talking about the pressure is worse. I'm talking about this lady turned the water on. While she has this catheter and this probe and this click inside of my body, she turned the water on and filled my uterus up with water.
She told you to come with a full bladder. That's on you.
No, what you talking about? This is a whole different procedure. This is the second one. The full bladder was so she could look at my cervix. The second one, you go and pee, and then she fill up the uterus with water.
You see, I would know that if they would have let me back there.
You would have, but it was crazy. She pulled all of them probes out. It was blood all over the floor.
You didn't tell me that.
On the Q-tips.
You never told me about that.
I took a picture.
To show them how they damaged you?
Yeah, and then the fucking bitch.
You can't do that.
The lady, she don't know how to draw no blood. And I told her, listen, ma'am, last time you had me bruised.
You got on a sweater, you can't
even
see it right now.
The doctor had to come and draw my blood because I told her, listen, ma'am, that's it and that's all. Like, I have big old veins. Like, you can look and see, like, my veins are green, they big, they green and blue. And everybody always say, oh, you have such beautiful veins. Oh, it's so easy to draw your blood. Every time I go in there, this lady be poking me 3, 4, 5 times, and she still don't get no blood out. So she had the thing in there, and she's like, oh, it ain't giving me no blood. I'm like, dog, I'm done. You can take that up out of me. I done had enough.
She's such a sweet lady.
She a sweet lady, but she don't know how to draw no blood. So the doctor came in there, and I imagine with the same size needle, in the same arm, in the same vein, the doctor got the blood, no problem. So it couldn't be me the problem. It got to be her the problem. But anyways, because they be having me messed up in there.
We didn't have to mention that.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I want y'all to know about all of this stuff. The HSG hurt. Don't let them tell you it's not going to hurt. HSG hurt. That hydro ultrasound hurt. Whatever that shit was, the first one that I don't know what she did when she went up in there by my cervix, it hurt. It all hurts. It feel weird. They made me get on antibiotics. So make sure when you get on those antibiotics that you're drinking a lot of water so you don't get no yeast infection. Yeah. But yeah. That's where we at. I've caught y'all up for the past June, July, August, September, October, November, December. For the past 7 months. I wanted to wait to start the vlog until we had something to say. So when you just go into an appointment and you're getting blood drawn, oh, my battery's going dead. Well, we about done anyways. It's not really anything to report. So now we actually have somewhere to start and to keep going forward. So thank you guys for watching. And we out because my battery is dead anyway. So y'all have a good day. And until next time.